Hello, everyone. Here we are at week 7. We are almost finished with this term in Bio 120. So last week you learned all about asexual reproduction, like in bacteria, and how bacteria have other strategies to help them gain new traits as asexual beings, and sexual reproduction, advantages and disadvantages to each. You learned about heredity. You learned about nature versus nurture. Had great discussions on the discussion board about that. And biodiversity and how important it is and how we need biodiversity in our genes, in our species, even in ecosystems across the world. So this week you've got your final project due. If you are also taking the lab, I encourage you strongly to take a look at chapters 44 and 46 on ecology and ecosystems. Now, most of y'all are environmental science majors, and so this is right up your alley. You love this stuff, and of course, so do I. So do take a look at those 2 chapters. There's a Module 7 overview, and you can watch the video. I'm also going to put a video in the announcements on red tides in Florida, because this is a time of year that this starts happening again, where we get too much nutrient overload out there in the ocean, and you get red tides forming. And red tides have been the cause of major kill-offs of dolphins and manatees around Florida in the last few years, but they're also harmful to human beings. You never want to get in the water if you see an algal bloom like this. So anyway, I'm going to include a video on that. Discussion board postings this week are optional, and they're about eutrophication. So those of you who are doing projects on eutrophication can certainly add to the conversation. You're going to talk about the phosphorus cycle, because phosphorus, there's only a limited amount of phosphorus on the planet, so that's kind of interesting. Wastes and energy and nutrient flow, and if you are taking the lab, you'll be doing more on that with your lab. Okay, like I said, your final project is due. That means you're going to take the 3 milestones that are already graded. So you have actually already turned in all of your final project, just not in the right format and not corrected. So you've already turned in the whole thing with the 3 milestones. You're going to put this into slide format like PowerPoint. But if you don't want to use PowerPoint, there's Google Slide, and I'm sure there's all kind of other software applications out there. So you're going to put all of this together in the form of a presentation, and you're going to make slides. You're going to have speaker's notes at the bottom of the slides. Do not add an extra Word document, because if you do, then that is one more file that I have open. So I got the website, I got the grading rubric, I got your presentation, and then if you give me a Word file, there's 4 things that I have open on my computer that I have to read through to find and grade. So be sure and put your speaker's notes at the bottom of the slides. The speaker's notes are what you would be saying as you make this presentation. Okay, so this is going to be a presentation, not that you do, but that you make and that I read. So speaker's notes at the bottom of the slides, and if you don't know how to do that, I can always show you that with a short little video. You're going to include all 3 of the milestones. I have graded them all, so you know what you need to fix, because I have told you in the grading, so fix them. That way you're going to make a really good grade on this final project. Include imagery, include graphics to support your information and your point of view. You need to make this interesting looking. If it is all just a bunch of words, there are going to be points taken off, because that is not how you make a presentation. You don't have all the words that you would say on a slide. You give images, you give bullet points. Bullet points are perfect for this. You do not have to have everything written out on a slide, because that is not interesting. Have you ever been in a presentation and that's what somebody did? where it was all just words on a slide and they're reading what it says. Like, I can read, don't do that. So imagery is really important, and graphics and data. So if you have any data, if you're doing a presentation on climate change, there is a lot of data out there. So you need to include that in your presentation. Label each section. I cannot emphasize this enough. Label, label, label. If I don't know what that slide is representing that you got in your presentation, how do I grade this? So every single topic, every single section needs to have its own slide. A section for topic who, a section for biology analysis. That's one slide. The analysis is one slide, and then relationship to topic, another slide. So every section has its own slide and should be labeled as thus at the top of the slide. One other thing that I want to mention is how much this counts in your overall grade. It is 260 points out of the 1,000 that you earn. So that is more than a quarter of your grade is this final project. And the thing is that you've already had all of it graded in the milestones. So there is no reason that you can't put this together in a good final format and make a really good grade on it. Okay? So you just have to take the time to do this. Other hints I've already said: use bullets, use imagery. Don't just write tons and tons of words on a slide. How boring. It's got to be in a format as if you are presenting this to an audience. And I think I've explained to you in the other videos that I made that something like the analysis section, where you're picking out the 3 biological concepts that have to do with your topic, like photosynthesis, like adaptation, like evolution, like the carbon cycle, whatever. In the analysis section, you're explaining those as if your audience doesn't know what they are. So you're making a presentation to an audience who doesn't understand the biology, and you're explaining it and the consequences of this problem, etc. So I hope that helps you. I cannot emphasize enough the labeling, though. I really can't, because I've got to see that. And if you need anything, you know where to find me, m.sigmon@snhu.edu. And one other thing that I want to remind you about. Sunday, June 26th is the deadline to turn in everything for this course. You cannot upload anything after midnight on that night, midnight Monday morning. Okay, everything has to be in. You can't send anything to me and I upload. I cannot do that. All I can do is grade at that point. So please be aware of this deadline. Everything has to be turned into this course, uploaded into this course by that night, Sunday, June 26th. So I just want to remind you about that in case you're a little bit behind and you're trying to get things in quickly. So I hope that you have a good week. And all you need to do is let me know if you are stuck anywhere and are having trouble. Okay? Have a great week.